It's Friday, everyone. What do we do on Fridays here at the Hint Hive? That's right, we smash the patriarchy. Hey, badass women and allies. Welcome back to the Hint Hive, amplifying women's voices. I'm Kelly Hint, queen bee of this particular hive, your feminist life coach and psychotherapist. And today we're diving into something heavy, real, and absolutely necessary. The dark side of feminism. Now, before you clutch your pearls, let me be clear. I am a feminist, loud and proud. But loving something does not mean turning a blind eye to its flaws. Today we're peeling back the layers of feminism to talk about where it's gone wrong. We'll confront the racism, the exclusion, the elitism, and the ways feminism has sometimes missed the mark. But don't worry, we're not stopping there. We're also talking about how feminism has evolved and how we can be better feminists. Because growth, my friends, is what it's all about. So grab your coffee, your wine, or whatever fuels your fire, and let's get into it. All right, first up, let's cover the ugly history of feminism. It pains me to have to talk about this part of it, but you can't learn and grow without knowing history. Yes, history, the thing that our current administration is trying to erase. But anyway, sorry, I won't get political right now. Okay, so feminism has done a lot of good in the world, but let's not sugarcoat its history. The first wave of feminism, which fought for women's right to vote in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, had a glaring issue. It largely excluded women of color. While white suffragettes like Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton were fighting for women's rights, they were also actively distancing themselves from black women, sometimes even opposing their right to vote if it meant that white women had to wait longer. Yikes. And let's not pretend that this ended with the first wave. Second wave feminism in the 1960s and 70s, while advocating for workplace rights, reproductive freedoms, and an end to domestic violence, often prioritized the experiences of middle-class white women and ignoring the struggles of Black, Latina, Indigenous, and working-class women. Think about how feminism pushed the idea that all women should want to leave their homes and enter the workforce, while ignoring that many women of color never had the luxury to stay home in the first place. And also, I'm going to add as an aside here, any movement that says all women should is part of the problem unless it's followed by should have equal rights, right? Like, I have said this over and over. If you want to be a stay-at-home woman and you have the luxury of doing that, do it. If you don't want to go out in the workforce and you have the ability to sustain life without going to work, do it. But don't tell anyone else that they have to live the life that you're living. Okay, let me climb back off the soapbox because I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So these exclusions continued in mainstream feminist organizations where the leadership was overwhelmingly white and privileged. And even today, we see feminism get co-opted by corporations that slap a #girlboss on a t-shirt while paying their female workers garbage. We see feminism used as a shield by white women who weaponize their tears against women of color instead of actually advocating for them. Feminism is supposed to be about all women. But historically, it hasn't always lived up to that promise. And that pains me. It really pains me because I feel that I personally owe a debt of gratitude for our ability to vote, right? For our right to vote. So I owe a debt of gratitude to the first wave of feminists. But there was work to be done. And let's just talk for a second about the double standards within feminism itself. There has been an ongoing debate about how feminism treats different groups of women. Women in the LGBTQ plus community have had to fight to have their struggles recognized within feminism. Trans women in particular have faced exclusion from certain feminist spaces, with some radical feminists outright rejecting their identities. That exclusionary feminism is not real feminism. It's gatekeeping. And it goes against the very core of what feminism is supposed to be about: equality and justice for all women. That's it. Period. End of sentence. But here's the good news. Feminism is not static. It has changed. And it is changing. Third wave feminism, which emerged in the 90s, began addressing the movement's past exclusions, emphasizing intersectionality, a term coined by Kimberly Crenshaw to highlight how race, class, gender, and other identities overlap to shape experiences of oppression. And now, fourth wave feminism, it's digital, it's global, and it's calling out the bullshit in real time. Today's feminism is more inclusive than ever. It fights for trans women, disabled women, women of color, and the most marginalized among us. And I'm sorry, but that's how it should have been all along. It's moving beyond just corporate feminism and performative activism. We are seeing feminists actually listen to and uplift voices that were historically ignored. And I am all here for that. This new wave of feminism is also tackling broader systemic issues. It's addressing the intersection of gender with economic inequality, healthcare disparities, climate justice, like we talked about last week, and reproductive rights. Feminists today are looking beyond just individual empowerment and toward systemic change, because we all know that true equality will not come from leaning in, but from dismantling the barriers that hold all women back. And I'm going to put this out there and piss everyone off, but I don't give a rat's ass. If you have a problem with how somebody else lives their lifestyle, whether it's their gender identity or their sexual orientation, I'm sorry, but that has nothing to do with you. Like, if you don't, quote, believe in gay marriage, don't get married to somebody of the same gender. It's really that freaking easy. But you don't get to trample all over the rights of people who don't have those views. And this is what I am pushing for. I am pushing for people to mind their own damn business, get out of other people's bedrooms, and do what's right for the world. Because I don't care. If you are super religious and you think that being gay is wrong, okay, you have the right to be ignorant, okay? You have that right. I'm not telling you that you don't have that right, so don't tell me that I have to think that a gay person is an abomination. I'm not about that. Because, and I'm sorry, a lot of this comes from religious teachings, but you're forgetting about the entire rest of your damn Bible, which says to love one another, which says God gave his only son to this world to die for your sins. And those sins, you're doing them. You are actively engaging in sin every time you hate on someone because they're different than you. So go back, read your own text, and start living the life that Christ wants you to live. Ooh, that was not supposed to happen today. Okay, big, deep cleansing breath. And I will say, and again, I will alienate people by saying this, but I don't care, because I am about being my authentic, genuine self. That is what I bring to the world, is me, in all of my flawed imperfections. And I will tell you that I am a person who chooses faith. I choose to have faith in a higher power. Okay, there, put it out there. However, part of that is love for me. Actually, all of it is love for me. I choose love. I choose to love other humans, and I choose to fight for other humans. And that, to me, is my sense of spirituality intermingled with my feminism. If you are a minority of any sort, it doesn't have to be gender minority. This isn't just about women for me. It is fighting for all minorities. And I will continue to advocate for all of you. For all of you listening, if you are a minority of any sort, I am here for you. I see you, I hear you, I fight for you, and I will continue to do that because I believe that that is what my job is as a human being. And that's part of my identity as a feminist because I'm trying to create a better world. All right. I totally derailed because, again, I get very passionate about this because I respect other people's rights to believe what they want, but also, like, just treat one another better. I'm tired of this anger and animosity. We have enough of it, and it's coming from the top down, and that is shameful. So, apologies if I went a little too far off subject, but I think it's necessary. Sorry, not sorry, maybe? All right, so let's talk about how to be a better feminist. So, how can we all do better? Okay, actionable steps. Here we go. Listen more than you speak, especially if you hold privilege in any area, whether it's race, class, ability, or sexual orientation. Take a step back and amplify marginalized voices. And then the next step, check your feminism. Is it inclusive? Is it intersectional? Or is it just convenient for you? Next step, call out performative feminism. Not all empowerment is created equal. If feminism is only about feel-good slogans, but it does not include real change, question it. And then, of course, I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to mention it again this week. Support women-owned businesses and creators from all backgrounds. Because I'm telling you, economic empowerment is huge. And then, of course, the next step is to educate yourself. Read beyond the mainstream feminist icons. Dive into works by Audre Lorde, Bell Hooks, Angela Davis, and Mickey Kendall, for example. And another piece of this, advocate for policies that help all women. From equal pay to reproductive justice, feminism is not just about self-empowerment. It is about structural change. And the next piece, show up and speak up. Use your voice and your privilege to push for change in your workplace, community, and government. Even if the government is telling you you can't. And then the last piece here. This is my favorite piece. Make space for younger feminists. Because the next generation is shaping feminism in real time. And they have insights that we need to hear. Ladies, we need to respect the next generation. I know we get caught up in all this, Gen this, Gen that, blah, blah, blah. We're so different, boomers versus Gen X versus millennials, millennials versus Gen Z. Can we stop? Can we please stop the fighting? I'm weary from it, aren't you? I mean, for crying out loud, we got the government doing it, and we're going to do it too. We need to be better. We need to be better than them. We need to rise above all of these disgusting politicians who, by the way, newsflash, do not give a single crap about you. Once you hit some of these high levels in government, they don't care. They're out for themselves. I feel like there are so many politicians that started out wanting to do the right thing, and then they are very quickly swallowed up as they're moving up the ladder. They forget about things. I think of, when Joe Biden was on his way out, like in his last hours, he was trying to get the Equal Rights Act ratified or something. I don't know. I'm just going off the cuff here, so I'm wishing now that I had actually done a little bit more research on this. But anyway, okay, last ditch effort. Buddy, you had 4 years. You had 4 years to work on some of these issues. Where were you? And this is what stings for me. We think that we have advocates. We elect people because we think they have our best interest in mind, and they abandon us. They abandon us when they get to the top. And I, for one, am sick of it. Putting all of your hope, faith, and trust in a politician is dangerous. You need to stop looking for that one person who's going to swoop in and save us all. They don't exist. It's us, people. It is us. We are the saviors. We are the ones that will make the change. We are the ones that can push and advocate for a better future for all of us. What are you doing? What are you doing to advance your own life? We need to stop waiting to be rescued. We need to go be the rescuers. I'm sorry. Ladies, we've been abandoned. We need to do better, and we can only do it when we unite. So stop with the infighting. We need to stop with the fighting among the classes, the races, the sexual orientations. Stop it, ladies. Come on. Get it together. Band together. Join me. Let's change the damn world. All right. Before I start screaming into this microphone, I'm going to slow it down. Now it's time for our quote of the week. Audre Lorde says, or said, "I am not free while any woman is unfree, even when her shackles are very different from my own." Yes, girl, yes. Sit with that one for a minute. Feminism is not just about you or me. It is about all of us. Now let's start acting like it. All right, my empowered hive, here is your call to action. Pick one of the actionable steps we talked about today and commit to it this week. And then share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. And please join our Facebook group for the Hint Hive and keep this conversation going. Let's hold each other accountable and grow together. I would love to make this Facebook group your safe space to talk about anything that you want to talk about. There are some really, really amazing women in that group. And we're waiting for you. We're waiting for you to join up and start talking and maybe even creating some connections where we can advocate together, where we can make real change together. And hey, if you love this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and keep amplifying women's voices. We are stronger together. I cannot emphasize that enough. Until next time, my friends, stay bold, stay badass, and keep fighting the good fight. Love you all. This podcast is powered by Kelly Hint Empowerment Coaching, as well as Kelly M. Hint LMHC and The Cranky Counselor. To find out more about coaching services, head over to CoachKellyHint.com. If you'd like to know more about the psychotherapy services I offer to individuals within the state of New York, you can check out KellyMHint.com. And if you'd like to learn more about aromatherapy, you can check out TheCrankyCounselor.com.